How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of SevTech Ages. Today we're going to be messing around with Steve's carts, but before we get to that, I do want to set up our drawer system here. So what I'm kind of thinking is that we have our main controller on top here, and maybe we change this later on, maybe we don't. I'm not exactly 100% on it just yet. But since this top area is going to be like our bedroom area and where we want to keep more valuable things, I'm thinking maybe we have a couple drawers up here as well. So again, this is probably going to change a little bit as well. But right now we can do some of those ones. We can do a couple of the big storage ones like that. And then we can also sprinkle in a couple of the double drawers. And let's see. Let's also add in a couple more of these guys as well. And that should be the top area. We might go up a little bit more on the sides there, but for right now, that should be fine. And then down here, we are going to have another one of these guys. And then, let's see, we're just going to circle the window. We're going to use probably a bunch of the double drawers on the bottoms like that. And then we can use the quad drawers on the sides. I got to break these guys because I didn't mean to go that far. All right, so there we go. And then that thing should be connecting the bottom one over here. And on the bottom, what we're going to do is just have the whole wall, the big drawers, pretty much. So that we have bulk storage for a bunch of items. And then on the bottom of those, we will do... Actually, no. For right now, I'm going to leave it as all single item drawers. And then later on, again, if we need to change it, then we will. And let's just double check and make sure everything locks. So all the top ones did. Let me jump onto the bottom and see if those ones locked as well. We got the little icons on those guys. That's good. And we've got the icons on all of the drawers down here as well. So that is awesome. Alrighty, well, I went ahead and sorted all of the stuff that I think I'm going to want in drawers for the time being. There's still quite a few that are empty, and those might get filled up as we progress through the ages here. But right now, the top section has quite a few that are empty. This middle section doesn't really have any other than that one there, but that's going to be cooked pork chops when I get around to actually cooking some of those. And then we might also end up swapping out probably the saplings. I don't really think we want to be storing those. I do want to set them up to farm, but those are most likely going to get stored in the area that we're having them get farmed at, not in our main base, because I don't really think there's going to be recipes that require us to be getting saplings. So that might get changed around a little bit, but this little section is pretty much all farmable items or mob drops for the most part here. And then down here on the bottom, I also changed it around a little bit. I added in a couple more of the quad drawers to handle all of our lumber. So that's where all that's going to get stored. And then on the side, we have all of our vanilla blocks for the most part. And then I have a couple more empty ones should I get anything else that we want to store later on. And then in a few of these drawers, we've also added in the golden upgrade because I didn't have the space in the drawer and I didn't want to waste multiple drawers. I also didn't want to build a lot more of these chests to store stuff, which are still kind of full with a bunch of other random junk still. So eventually we'll work our way through all of this backlog. I'm going to make whatever we need out of the wood here so that we don't have it stored up anymore. And then we can try and decrease this storage space a little bit more here. Anyways, though, let's go ahead and start messing around with the Steve's cart stuff here. So to actually make a usable cart, we're going to need the cart assembler. And to do that, the recipe is relatively straightforward. A furnace surrounded by nether brick, that's fine. We've already made a basic catalyst, and I think I still have a whole lot of the quartz stuff laying around back at the astral sorcery area, so we should hopefully be able to craft up one of those guys. We also need a clock, which is just a vanilla recipe with a plate instead of an ingot, so that's fine. And then the circuit board is doable. What is this? This is doable over in Astral Sorcery as well. We can use the iron cluster or the iron ore to just get the iron grit, and then we can have that thing put together here in 2 seconds as well. So all of this we have. We just need to go put it all together and get that thing crafted. So give me 2 seconds. Well, once we craft up these circuit boards, we should have everything in our inventory ready to go. Why can't I craft these things? There we go. Okay, so now we have 2 of those. I went ahead and just made 2 of them since we had 1 left over of the little tube thingies. So now all we got to do is craft up the rest of this. I don't have my lapis on me. My bad. That should be right upstairs. Let's grab that. We need 4 of you. And let's go over here. We can do this, that. We need actually 5 of you, not 4 of you. I cannot count. But anyways, that is going to allow us to craft up the clock. And then let's see, everything else should be just a click away. There's our furnace and there is our assembler. And with the assembler here, it's just like a workbench. So we need to plop one of the holes in there. So it wants us to make the wooden one first. That is going to be very, very cheap to do. Yep, just a whole bunch of sticks and planks. So let me throw one of those together real quick. And with the wooden hull in there, we now have access to some of the options inside of this workbench. So we can add an engine, a tool, some attachments, or some storage. But I don't honestly think we're going to use this hull because it's the lowest one that we have available, I'm pretty sure. So what I want to do is actually make the second one, which is the iron one, or the standard hull, because on these things, we have a hull capacity and a complexity cap. So I think the hull capacity is linked to the modular cost. So for instance, if we were to use the basic farmer to set up, say, like a wheat farm or something, it is going to eat up 36 of the 50. So that's going to leave us very little room to throw an engine in. And at the moment, we only have a couple engine options until maybe next age or the following age. And those options are either a coal engine or a thermal engine, which I think is a lava engine. I'm honestly not sure. But we have a couple options there. We also have a tiny engine, which is also super, super cheap, so that could be what we end up using. But yeah, let me go ahead and craft up the standard one real quick. It's just a normal minecart with some iron wheels, which is just iron ingot. So let me get that put together, see what the difference is on the hull cost, and that should be our standard hull done. It also has a lot more capacity. Look at that. We have a modular capacity of 200. And yeah, that's definitely better. Okay, 150 boost and a increase on the modular complexity as well. Engine count, we can have 3 of them on there. We can have 6 add-ons. So now that little tree is open to us. That wasn't open on the wooden one. So that is really, really good. But however, I think I do want to hold off on actually setting one of these up. We do have an engine. We got from the advancement into the next age, we had to craft one of the engines to do that, and it was the normal coal engine. So we do already have an engine. We would only need to craft the farming tool and then some storage as well, because what I want to do eventually is actually throw in the solar engines, which we don't have access to right now. And then I would also like to do the Galgadorian farmer, because that is apparently unbreakable. So I don't know how long the actual basic farmer is going to last. It does have a durability on it. So eventually I do want to get the Galgadorian stuff going. I just can't do that right now because I don't have ender pearls, and I need to actually start farming those guys, because at the moment that is our holdup. We have some gas tiers. I can just jump back into the nether and farm those guys. We got the magma cream, the spider eyes. That's not really an issue. So I just got to stop being lazy and actually get around to farming some of the endermen here. But there's our coal engine in there. And does it decrease this stuff over here? It's not moving the numbers, but it is adding to the total cost. So that's cool. It also adds a little furnace thing on the front. Nice. I'm going to throw together one of the basic farmers. Yeah, I think we can do that. We need to make another circuit board. We have one, so we need one more. That should be doable. Yep. Okay, so let me get one of those put together and we can get a farmer going, and then we will set up a little farm for right now. I'm not going to go crazy with it, because once we get these solar panels and the unbreakable tool, then I'll make a giant farm to actually harvest up a whole bunch of food for us. Okay, so this cart is actually something that we are going to be changing maybe once or twice once we do unlock those solar engines. But right now, we're going to stick with the coal engine that we have in there. I also might have gone a little overboard on crafting the chest plates, because I want to craft up a normal chest. We're going to do one of these right now just to see how much space does this actually give us. Does it tell us? It doesn't. Okay. So I don't know how much storage space that actually has. I just don't want to accidentally, like, not have the engine work. Although it doesn't look like that took out that. And that's also the internal one. I crafted the wrong one. Uh-oh. Okay, we wanted to craft this guy, the front one, which to do that, we need some of these guys. Let's get some of those crafted. Let's get this back. There we go. So can we have that chest and this? We cannot. Okay, so that's good. that is our farmer. And we can just load up with these guys if we wanted to, or we can make the side ones, or the top one, actually. So yeah, let's do that. Let me craft up the top one and the side ones real quick. So that is the top one. We can also add in the side saddle ones. We can add in the internal one, and that gives us a bunch of storage, but I don't know how much exactly, because it does not tell you on that screen. So the total cost is only 85. If we only add one of those, that's 57. Let's see, which one of these is cheaper? 25 and 3. That one's 3. That takes us to 54. Okay. I was going to see if we can get away with using the wooden one, because we are going to have to tear this thing down and use a different one when we get to the point of doing that. Okay, well, let's throw these chests on there then. That's fine. We have one more empty slot, which we can't do anything with. We can also, let's see, is there any attachments that we want to put on there right now? I don't really want to. Like, we have the hydrator. That should keep the farmland wet. And then we have fertilizer, which will bone meal the crops, which, again, I don't really need, because I don't need a whole lot of them very quickly. I just need them getting harvested over time here. So that's also something we're probably not going to do right now. Eventually, we are going to have to craft up the cargo manager. Actually, we want to craft that now. And then we also are going to have to craft up this guy eventually when we unlock more attachments that we want to put onto this cart. Instead of having to craft a whole new one from scratch, we can go ahead and pick this one up and modify it. So let me craft this guy, which... we have the stuff. We don't have redstone. Let me go grab some of that real quick. Alrighty, well, there's our cargo manager. So this should interact with the cart here and pull the stuff out of it. We can also then connect this with pipes, which are from Buildcraft, and I think we have to make engines to actually pull the stuff through those pipes. So right now, I'm not going to bother with it. As far as this cart goes, I think we're done with it for right now. So we need to add fuel into this thing. So let's throw some charcoal in there. Actually, we can only do a stack at a time probably. So let's throw a stack into there. And then it's going to take us 17, almost 18 minutes for this thing to get crafted together. So let's just go ahead and set that in motion so it starts going. While that is running, I'm actually going to start messing with some of the immersive engineering stuff, because we need some of that stuff rolling in as well here. So the thing that I want to get up and running today from Immersive Engineering is the Blast Furnace. This is going to allow us to start creating steel, and we need steel to progress through the rest of the age, as well as upgrade our armor. So to do that, we are going to need to get our hands on some nether brick, because in this pack, it's not like normal vanilla where we just smelt down netherrack. It's a whole little process here. So to get the finished product, we're going to need a stoked kiln, which is pretty straightforward. It's just some little bricks on the ground with a hibachi on the bottom here. To get the sludge, we need to mix together hellfire dust and potash. To get hellfire dust, we need to put it through a filtered hopper, which we have right now in 2 seconds. And then to get the potash, we also need a stoked cauldron. So we need to get these things going. So let's go ahead and craft up our filtered hopper. And there we go. Pretty straightforward. Inside of the hopper, we need to plop a soul sand. And it looks like we need mechanical power for this. So let me actually go outside real quick and plug it into our system. All right, things are a bit noisy over here, but it looks like it's working. So do I just right-click this? Do I drop it into there? Nope, it looks like I drop it on top. Okay, so we need a bit of this stuff. I have a couple stacks of the netherrack already ground down. We just put it through our milling stone over there, and it gives us the ground down version of the netherrack here. So I'm just gonna do 1 stack right now, because I feel like the sand should have a limit, but it's just letting us keep going. Okay, well, I'm gonna go until it stops. We're only gonna do this 1 stack. Anyways, though, now that we have a stack of the hellfire dust, we're going to need a couple ingots, which are just the hellfire dust put through a cauldron. So let me just put the whole stack in there. It's gonna process through eventually. And while that's going, I think we are going to need at least 9 of these guys. I think maybe just 1, maybe 9. I don't remember exactly. It does tell me in the book that comes from this mod, so I gotta go find that in my chest and see if we need 9 of them or just 1 of them. And there is our hibachi. There's our advancement as well. So again, I don't remember if we need more than those. I looked in the book and it doesn't say. It just says that they are stoked by the bellows. So I guess we'll figure that out as we get going here. But now we need a bellow, and to get one of the bellows up and running, it looks like we're just going to need a bit of leather and wood, so that's not going to take too long to get up and running, but I think it has been enough time for this thing to be done, and it has indeed. So we have our cart ready to go. Alrighty, and there is our bellows as well. So I think this also needs mechanical power to function, because I can't click on it. So if that's the case, I don't know if I have the stuff to be building gearboxes galore right now. I'm going to try and see if I can just plug it in where I had the saw and just maybe build a little temporary thing above here. And it did indeed go down, but it's not going back up is the thing. So hold on, let me see. If I point it that way, it doesn't move. And if I point it this way, it shrinks back down. So we then need that going into a hibachi to stoke the flame. But I'm not exactly sure how we get that thing to keep going up and down to actually give the fire air there. Well, what do you know? The book actually came in handy here. So as long as we give the gearbox a redstone signal, it should go up, and then we turn it off and it goes back on. So we can't fully automate this thing right this instant. We are going to have to keep an eye on it and actually give this thing a signal over and over again. But that is fine. We are going to plop this thing close by. I think we can do... probably that. I'm actually not going to do it right there. That feels like it's going to catch something on fire, and I'm going to be really annoyed in a few minutes when that does happen. So let me actually plop it right over here, and maybe that's enough to stoke the flame. And again, I'm not really sure if we do need a little 3x3 of this thing. So I guess we'll see. I should have a secondary cauldron in storage, so I don't have to break that one just yet. And if this actually works, then I know we can get things rolling. If it doesn't work, then we'll have to make more hibachis, which is going to take a few minutes to get everything going here. Alrighty, well, here we go. So we can stoke that, or turn it on, and that does stoke it. And how long before that turns back into normal fire before we have to trigger the signal there? So that was like 20 seconds, 30 seconds or so. So all we got to do is that over and over again, and that's fine. This should count as a stoked cauldron potentially. And the way we can see that is, what was the recipe we had to craft in that thing? It was the potash. So to get the potash, we can just dump a bunch of sawdust in there, and then trigger this thing over and over again. And I'm just going to keep flipping this over and over again to make sure the fire doesn't go out. I'm going to go ahead and skip over for you guys. But hopefully, it actually produces the potash, and we don't have to place down more of these. I'm completely fine with having to sit here doing this. But if we do need the 9, then I'll know. Oh, look at the fire's different. The fire is different. That is good. And look at that. We did indeed get a potash. So I'm going to sit here and flip the lever over and over again until we get enough of this stuff built up so that we're actually able to try and get the blast furnace put together. So I don't know how long this is going to take, but I'm sure you guys don't want to listen to this noise over and over again. So I'll be right back with you guys. Well, it's a good thing I double-checked real quick because we only needed 4 of the potashes here. I would have sat there for quite a while grinding that stuff down, but all we got to do now is let this stuff cook in the cauldron. It should produce 8 of the nether bricks. There we go. Got 8. And then the next thing that we need to craft is a kiln, which I have our bricks currently smelting down in our smeltery. So in a minute, we should have the bricks to set that thing up. It's relatively straightforward. We have the booklet here that tells us how to set one up. It is just 4 bricks, or we can make a little nook like that thing. So we don't need very many. I'm going to get this thing going. Oh, we actually have enough right now. Yep, there we go. Cool. So we only need 4. And then over in the corner where we just had our hibachi thing down, we can build it on top of that thing. So we're going to swap out our cauldron for this guy. Then we want to do that. Or, oof, actually we want that one higher. Okay, my bad. Let me move that. All right, so all we got to do is stoke this thing, and then I went ahead and put these into my crafting table. That's why we got the bricks now. And I think we can only do 1 at a time. We have to actually place it in there, and then if we stoke this thing, eventually it should cook into a normal brick. I don't know if it's going to spit it out on the ground, though. So we got to keep an eye on that. It is indeed. Okay, so it's just going to chuck it into our inventory. That's great. So let me go ahead and make all these bricks real quick. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get our blast furnace up and running here. We need 27 of these guys, which we don't have. Or actually, nope, can't do my math. So let's do this. We should be able to build right next to it, I believe. And let's just place all this stuff in. Didn't mean to do that. Give me that back, please. Thank you. Oh, well, apparently I can't do my math. So I need 3 more bricks. So let me go make some more potash because I need 1 more of those. Alrighty, well, now we can actually get this thing up and running. So let's do that. And inside of here, we're going to plop our iron as well as our coal coke. I don't think it runs normally without coal coke. So we do want to start processing more of that through. The only issue with that is that our tank is just about full off of 1 stack of coal, and then I think I only did a couple stacks of logs. So we either need to break this and lose all of that oil, or we need to make a bigger tank. I'm not exactly sure just yet, but this is going to process through. We're going to get our first little bits of steel, and while that's going, we might as well also place down our Steve's cart thing. So let me get that back out. We need to make some rails, so let's do 1 of those. And for right now, we don't need very many of them, so I'm just going to do a stack. That should be more than enough for right now. And I'm just going to plop it down right here for right now as well. We are going to move it, but for the time being, this will hopefully be okay. We can have our water in the middle here, and then we're just going to have this guy looping around, planting some wheat probably, or some carrots, I guess. So we can plop this guy like that. And then let's see, we also want this somewhere that we can actually interact with it. So let's plop it here. And then when it drives by, we should have it offloading, hopefully. And it should, for the time being, load up in this thing. We don't have the pipes to be pumping out. I'm not going to set that up right now. I will set it up when we get to the point where we want to automate this. But right now, it's just for us to kind of be hands-off and have our farm kind of producing something. All right, so let's go ahead and load this thing up. We're going to plop some carrots in there. We're going to plop some wheat. And it's using these seeds as fuel. That's not what I wanted it to do, but okay. Whatever, though, that's fine. We got our coal in there, and it's running. It's also only tilling 1 thing away from the rail, which I didn't think it was going to do that. I thought it did like a 3x3 or something away from the rail. That is not as good as I thought it was. Maybe it's also just because it's the basic farmer as well. That's why it's doing that. Well, at least now we know that. It's also not stopping on this thing. So, yeah, we might have to actually have a special rail. I think there's like detector rails or something that we can plop in front of this thing to have it actually stop and unload. But for right now, we're just going to let it run. We are going to be using all that coal the whole time. It's not going to stop itself. So the coal stuff might be a little bit of a waste at the moment. We might have wanted to hold off on actually setting this thing up just until we got the solar things. That probably would have been a better idea here, but you know what? It's fine. It's going to run for a little bit. It's not going to be the worst thing ever. We're just burning a stack. It's not the end of the world. But there we go. We did get our steel. We got our advancement done. And now we can start chipping away at the stuff to progress through the next age. We also want to start messing with the modularity stuff next episode, because that is how we get our hands on the excavate stuff for Tinkers here. So hopefully next episode, we're actually able to get at least one of these things put together so we can get vein mine on our hammer, because mining normally with this thing is a little bit quicker, but it still does take quite a bit of time because we're only moving 9 blocks at a time here. So I would love to get the vein mine up and running. Anyways, though, that is where we're going to be wrapping up today's episode. We got our Steve's cart thing kind of somewhat up and running. It's not really the greatest thing at the moment. We got our steel production underway. I am going to have to mine a bunch of iron ore in between episodes so that we can actually get steel rolling in, because at the moment we're only going to have, what was it, like 19 ingots? And that's not going to be enough to get the stuff going that we need. So I need to go clear a vein or 2, build up a bunch of iron, get it all processed through, so that hopefully next episode we can get the vein mine as well as the progression into the next age here. But anyways, that is where we're going to be wrapping up today's episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed as always, and I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.